back, everybody, to another Digital Gate Studios production, a hotly requested deck from Mr. Basil.
That's right. I want to, before we get into the deck profile, I want to shout out one commenter in specific. Loza, Digimon TCG, has been asking and begging, and every deck profile we have, whether I'm in it or if it's a Greymon deck or whatever, Basil, when are we getting the BlackWarGreymon OTK deck update?
So how many formats has it been?
We played it in BT-13.
Okay.
And so here we are in the middle, near the tail end of the BT-15 format, coming on BT-16. And it's interesting because when Justin and I played the deck a lot in the BT-13 format, it was obviously before offense training was a legal card. And so we were thinking, damn, BT-14 and EX5, this deck is going to crush because we're going to have offense training. Because for those of you who don't know the history, first of all, everyone pause, go watch our first deck profile on the channel. It'll explain the deck in great detail.
Link in the description below.
Link in the description. That deck was called Kineko Special after the person who invented it in Japan. He played 4 copies of Blinding Ray, 4 copies of Gravity Crush, 4 copies of Red Memory Boost, and 4 copies of Offense Training.
That's crazy.
And it was the very first iteration of, wow, we can abuse the memory gauge and kill people in one turn with a deck.
Right.
So that's very good. And since then, people have gotten a little bit wiser to the strategy. And basically what this deck has turned into is a math problem.
Yeah.
Is how can we be the most efficient with the 50 cards we have available to us? So a couple formats later and a little bit of statistical analysis later, we have the update to Ruby. Starting, nothing has changed here. This is the Draw Coromon from BT5.
Sure.
Interestingly enough, there is a new Draw Coromon. And that's the BT-14 one. And that is something that is worth thinking about because you can obviously promote the Agumon, swing with it, and draw a card. And I think that is perfectly legitimate. But in most games, you want to kill your opponent with that first breeding phase.
Yeah.
And so sticking with the Draw Coromon is perfectly fine.
Yeah, you'll never get through 4 eggs in this deck.
You'll never get through 4 eggs. That being said, the only other thing that I did want to mention about the BT-14 Coromon is there is a world where you replace some of your Agumons with Ukomons to get another breeding phase and get some more draw. But ultimately, it screws up the math a little bit too hard. So we're sticking with the BT-15 Coromon.
You know it's a tight deck when you can't find room for Ukomons.
It's true. Another thing that has not changed is our red-black BT-12 Agumon.
Sure.
It fills a couple of roles. First, it's Dig 4 Grab a Greymon, as well as it has a 1K Inherit all turns.
Yep.
But the more important thing is it is a black card. So for those of you who don't know, the combo in this deck is build 2 Greymons, DNA them with Chimeramon from BT-8, and put promo BlackWarGreymon on top of that.
Yeah.
You cannot evolve promo BlackWarGreymon on top of Chimeramon unless a black Digimon is in its Digivolution sources. So this is a card that does not say evolve for blank on anything with Greymon in its name.
Right.
Evolves on a black level 5 for 3.
Gotcha.
So have to have the black in sources, and this is our best target. We are still playing 3 of the red-yellow Searcher Agumon from BT-12. This gives us our yellow for our Blinding
Ray.
It has essentially the same effect on play as this Agumon because we are not playing Omnimons, Ties, or Marcus Daemon. So this is Search for Grab a Greymon. And then the Inheritable is completely useless. There are no tamers to activate this ability. It is just a Searcher that is yellow.
And an Agumon.
And an Agumon. Interestingly enough, as well about this card, is we were thinking about switching this to 1 copy of EX4 Agumon.
Oh.
It's red-yellow, and its effect is never activated. The only thing that's good about it is it isn't an on-play Searcher. So there are times in this deck where you will have a full combo in your hand besides Chimeramon.
Yep.
And if you play a Searcher and see 2 Chimeramons,
You're dead.
you're in trouble because there's only 4 in the deck.
Yeah.
It is a little bit greedy to play that because it's only good in instances late game when you're going for combo and need raw draw rather than search. But it is something that I did want to point out.
Flipping 2 Grav Crush and a Blinding Ray is still pretty bad, too.
It's still pretty bad. We'll talk about that a little bit later. Another thing that simply must not change is Agumon Xan Body.
Yeah, that's a big one.
This is obviously only searching 3 and grabbing a Greymon. But more importantly, it's going to build up our stack a little bit taller.
Yeah, you're going for sources.
Yeah, we're going for sources. Promo BlackWarGreymon is Digiburst 2 and Unsuspend, so the Xan Body line is perfect for that. As well as it'll activate our Cool Boy to get that gain 1 draw 1.
Sure.
It's so good that we were thinking about putting in the black Agumon X, but being black is pretty bad. One last Agumon that we're sticking with is the Structure Deck Agumon.
Okay.
When attacking, if you attack a player, gain 2k not once per turn. So we're going to build up our promo BlackWarGreymon to massive DP thresholds with this card.
Yeah. Give it basically jamming on swing. Yeah.
Yes, it is. It is very important to build up high DP because the only thing that your stack has protection from is deletion by effects, not deletion by battle.
Yeah.
Or
DP reduction.
Or DP reduction. So having huge DP numbers is very, very important. So that's it for the rookies. We're down to 12 from 13 because that's what the statistics say. We need to have the ability to draw a lot and gain a lot of memory. And so we'll get to those cards a little bit later. But for now, we got to keep going through our Greymon line. And the first is the Turbo Greymon.
Yep.
This is everything you could ever want in a Greymon. It gains memory on Evo, and it has a 2k inherit. Very, very nice. You need power and you need memory.
And if you're training into it, you're gaining memory by evoing, which is pretty nice.
Are there trainings in the deck, Jesse?
Oh,
good
Did
question.
we take them out? Let's see.
Stay tuned.
If you can't tell, I don't know what's in this deck.
Continuing on with our Greymons, the Greymon Xan Body from
Sure.
BT-8,
Yeah.
or BT-9.
It's your protection.
This is our protection. We're going to have instances of 2 sources many, many times in our stack. Obviously, our ideal stack is Agu X, Gray X twice, Chimera, Egg, and then something we tuck with Chimera. So in that case, even if we're hitting Rivals Barrage 3 times, we still might be able to kill our opponent through that.
Yeah.
Which is one of the strengths of this deck.
It's the last card you did you burst out.
It does, yeah, right. It does not necessarily care about most bounce, bottom deck, and deletion options in security. It's just those other ones we got to worry about. We have 3 one-ofs in the level 4 slot. The first is Red Black Greymon from BT-12.
Okay.
This Greymon is something that I've gone back and forth a lot. The good thing about it is it's a 1k DP inherit, which is very nice.
Yeah.
The other good thing about it is it's a black card.
Yeah.
If you do not have that black source, you're
A little
kind
bit of
of
redundancy.
you're in trouble. The bad thing about it is there are no ties.
Yeah.
So we're not getting its Wind Digivolving skill ever. And the other bad thing about it is it's not structured at Greymon.
Yeah.
So structured at Greymon is an incredibly strong card in this deck.
And people are going to ask you why you're not running 4 of that.
We'll talk about it because at the end of the day, structured at Greymon gives us security attack +1, but no DP.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, DP is king in this deck because there are instances where you can swing 5 times with your Digiburst stack, which is quite good. But security attack Greymon is important to make it so that you don't need to swing or that you can kill them from 5 security and then swing for game. We do have other ways of getting that. The only issue is that if we have Lightning Joust in our hand and security attack Greymon, we would rather the security attack Greymon be the Turbo Greymon.
Yeah.
That being said, it is searchable compared to the Lightning Joust, so that makes it a little bit stronger. It just has the downside of no DP.
Yeah.
One last level 4 in the deck, and that is the Restricted Greymon X. This is another black level 4, which is very important to get our ability for Chimeramon. Its inheritable never comes up because we are not playing the Xan Body option. And its main skill of evolving for reduced cost only comes up with our 1 copy of BT-8 Metal Greymon. So BT-8 Metal Greymon is an extremely strong card.
Yep.
And in this deck, it's less like, oh yeah, when digivolving, de-digivolve something and then delete a 3K. This card is specifically your out to some of the major counters of this deck. The first and most notable is Shadow Seraphimon.
Yeah.
Shadow Seraphimon, hard played for 13, is one of the biggest counters to this deck because if we get de-digivolved from BlackWarGreymon back to Chimeramon, we can't Digiburst.
Yep.
So we can't unsuspend. The other thing is if it dies, for like some decks give it blocker. If it dies, it's going to DP minus our stack by a huge
million. Yeah.
So that's very troublesome. Metal Greymon is there to either de-digivolve the Shadow Seraphi or tuck it under the Chimera stack and then swing over the Shadow Seraphi. So that's pretty important. Another big counter is Quartzmon. An unsuspended Quartzmon means that we can't unsuspend. So that's pretty bad too. Most recent and most relevant example of why we're playing this card now is for Mega Garglemon Ace.
Yeah.
So if they are sitting on a Rapidmon and they're threatening a Mega Garglemon Ace, we have to deal with the Rapidmon before we can go for game.
Yep.
Because if the Rapidmon is sitting there and we swing, at security and they choose not to block, they blast into the Mega Gargo, they suspend our BlackWarGreymon, and it can't unsuspend, and then they can deal with it and kill us on the next turn.
Yeah.
So, Metal Greymon is very important to de-digivolve those Rapidmons, get them out of there, or tuck it under your Chimeramon stack and then swing over the Rapidmons so they can't counter.
De-digivolving machine's pretty good too.
De-digivolve. We all know how strong de-digivolve is. Yeah. Star of the show, Jesse.
Chimeramon.
This card is it's so interesting because we have a lot of newer players at the shop.
Yeah.
And they don't really know about this card.
Yeah.
Which is so interesting because it is so absurdly strong.
It's so universal.
This is probably the best abuse case for this card, is utilizing the strength of the Greymon draw engine, as well as the Xan Body archetype to go into something that swings a lot. But what people don't understand is it becomes a red, white, black, and yellow Digimon and minuses 4K to 4 Digimon.
Yeah.
A lot of Numemons will die when you go into this. A lot of Ukomons, a lot of Floodgates.
It's like close to a revelation on the board.
Yeah, it's a very, very strong card. And then obviously allows us to tuck. Like, for example, if we are missing our yellow source for Blinding Ray, tuck the Agumon. If we're missing the black source for our BlackWarGrey, tuck the Agumon. Or if we just want more DP, security attack, whatever the case, more protection.
My favorite part about the DP minus is that it pretty much just takes care of the floodgate problem.
It's
inherently.
Natural,
It's just natural. Yeah.
Our last Digimon in the deck is Chimera's partner in crime, the promo BlackWarGreymon.
Sitting at 3. Okay.
Sitting at 3.
I know you've gone down to 2 a couple times.
Yeah. For those of you who have seen the original deck profile, this was at 2.
Yep.
And the thing about it being at 2 is this deck, since we played a lot in BT-13, has had a lot of more natural counters develop, specifically thinking about Mega Garglemon Ace, thinking about cards like Revelation of Light and the whole security or the whole vaccine yellow line.
Magnamon.
Magnamon. There are a lot of decks that have a natural counter to this deck, which what that necessarily means is not that you cannot beat those decks, but it means that you cannot OTK those decks.
Yeah.
And in that instance, you really don't want to have 2 BlackWarGreymons in your deck because you have the one, you go for a lethal line, it misses, and now it's your opponent's turn. And they can't necessarily kill you that turn. Maybe you didn't even have to use that many resources, but your other BlackWarGreymon's in security.
Yeah.
Or whatever the case may be.
Or at the bottom of your deck, yeah.
There are a lot of decks that you will need to BlackWarGreymon twice to win.
Yeah.
And so that's why we're up to 3. So that's it for Digimon. So now what we're going to do is the next 3 sections of the deck are going to be cards that do the thing that help you win.
Okay.
So the first thing you have to do to win on this deck is draw cards.
Sure.
So let's talk about things that draw cards.
Cool boy.
For Cool Boy. So some more history about this deck. If you're looking at this deck right now and you play Cool Boy, you have a 46% chance to get a card off of the search. Justin and I thought, wow, that sucks. That is so low.
Yeah.
And so we're like, damn, let's just take this card out, get rid of it, whatever. So that was the first thing we did in BT-14 when the trainings dropped.
Yeah.
No Cool Boy, 4 boost, 4 training. And I thought that can't be bad. Offense training, grab a Gravity Crush. You know what I mean? It seems really strong. But the more that we did the sort of math of it all, is that the 46% search on the Cool Boy doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
What matters is gain 1, draw 1.
Yeah.
Because for those of you who played this deck, the biggest frustration and the biggest problem of this deck is finding Chimeramon. And the best way to do that is not search and not search for a red card, a red Digimon, a Greymon. The best way to do that is to draw cards.
Yeah.
So the other thing, the other change that we have made is we've gone to 4 Fireball. So
Makes sense.
that is super important in this deck, is how can we get Chimeramon? And the other thing to note about Fireball is it's very important in our Rapidmon matchup. So we go into Chimeramon, yellow source, black source, red source, white source, minus 4K to the board. Rapidmon is now 3K.
Yep.
Fireball, delete a 3K. So you delete the Rapidmon, it purges down to whatever it is, the rookie,
It dies.
and then it dies because it has minus 4K.
Yeah.
Fireball, very, very important. As well as kill a memory floodgate, as well as draw 2 cards.
Yeah.
Fireball, extremely strong in this deck.
It'll also slow down those Numamon players with all the Ukamons and security.
That's true. Swing into security. It does activate main. So it will either draw you 2 or kill something on the board.
Yeah.
Very nice. So the next thing we have to do to win the game is to have a bunch of memory.
Yep.
This is something that when I was talking with some of the sort of geniuses behind this deck and the modern iterations thereof, they're like, trust me, give it a try. 2 red memory boost.
Ooh.
So red memory boost has... we were talking about statistics on search. Red Memory Boost has a 98% chance to draw you a card.
Yeah.
Which is great. You play it, you're almost always going to get a card back. But
The things that it doesn't draw
things
are
that
scary.
it does not draw are very scary.
Yeah.
So that is Cool Boy, Fireball, all of the rest of the cards in my hand, and Chimeramon. So there's many times
And
where
BlackWarGrey.
and BlackWarGrey.
Yeah.
So very critically, Red Memory Boost doesn't draw you any of your combo pieces.
Yeah.
So that was why I was so excited to put training in the deck, because training doesn't dig as far, but it grabs all of our combo pieces, which is our memory options, our Fireball, and our 2 combo options.
But at the end of the day, it's not raw memory.
But at the end of the day, it doesn't draw.
Yeah.
And so that is sort of where we're going with the deck at the moment. And it's not like Red Memory Boost is the way that we really get memory in the deck.
Yeah.
The way that we really get memory in the deck is 4 Gravity Crush and 2 Blinding Ray. So originally, this list was, like I said, 4 Gravity Crush and 4 Blinding Ray. But at the end of the day, that is somewhat superfluous. There's not a real reason to play that many Blinding Ray, because the first reason is you don't have that many yellow sources.
Yeah.
You have a million red sources. Obviously, all of our Digimon here are red. But the Blinding Ray is a little bit less needed because you don't really need that much memory to do the combo.
Yeah.
So the way that we were originally playing the deck when we first started was promote your level 4 and swing, probably die, either in battle or on the next turn, and then promote the second stack and then play it that way. In that case, you're probably just promoting a rookie and you need to build the entire thing from scratch, which you do need a lot of memory for. But a lot of the times you can build up to a level 4 in raising and then just go from there,
Yeah.
which means that you only really need a little bit less memory to do the combo.
Also worth noting, if you guys haven't watched the first video, the timing on this is that you Blinding Ray and Grav Crush while you're at the Chimera stage.
Yes.
Because as soon as you cover that up, you're boned.
Once you're BlackWarGreymon, you have no red source, no yellow source.
So keep that in mind.
Very important to use all of your memory options, fireballs, and etc. when you're in Chimeramon. The last 3 cards you also want to use once you are Chimeramon. The first 2 are Lightning Joust, and the third one is Delicate Plan.
You fit ADP in the deck. He did it.
So this was the other thing I was really excited for offense training in. Like offense training grabs Lightning Joust. It grabs a Delicate Plan. We don't need to play Security Greymon. We don't need to play whatever. We can just play offense training. The reality of offense training is that you can't use 2 in a turn, basically, unless you're in an Agumon in the Raising. Which the optimal way to play the deck is to build to a Greymon in Raising, push out, Greymon X, activate Cool Boys, and then build your second stack. In that case, we can only use 1 offense training in that turn because we'll go Agumon, and then we'll go Greymon on top of that with the offense training. Greymon X costs 0, DNA to Chimera costs 0, and evolve into BlackWarGreymon is not reducible by offense training. So at the end of the day, we moved away from that and moved towards sort of the raw draw aspect. But these 2 cards are these 3 cards are very important to note. Lightning Joust gives you power and security attack. So it's basically a combination of Turbo Gray and security attack Greymon.
And the Blinding Ray is going to make sure that Lightning Joust always gives you security attack.
Because we're a pure OTK deck, there are very rare instances in which our opponent is going to have more or less security than us. Unless they are also playing perhaps a Blinding Ray deck or, you know, a vaccine, or if they're playing Pulsemon or whatever the case. Almost always we're going to be at least even for the Lightning Joust, which is very nice. And then a Delicate Plan is interesting because Justin and I go back and forth on this card a lot. The only thing that our BlackWarGreymon is going to lose to is Chaos Degrade effects. So that's Chaos Degrade, Lonky, whatever, and massive amounts of DP minus. And the second one is really what pushed it over the edge for me, because if we hit Revelation of Light and our BlackWarGreymon is swinging at 16k, we're now 11k for the rest of our checks. So we're losing to any Mega, we're losing to any 11k blocker.
You're also forgetting about Suka's curse, buddy.
We're also, this is Sukumon's curse, quite awkward. But that being said, a Delicate Plan is the flex spot in the deck. If you predict a lot of purple and blue, ADP can come out for another structure deck Agu, another red memory boost, another Blinding Ray, or another security Greymon, whatever the case. But this is what I'm rolling with, Jesse. This is a deck that you absolutely cannot sleep on. It can absolutely come out of nowhere and crush. And a lot of people will not be expecting it. So, like I said, as soon as they take out those memory floodgates, throw this deck in and see what happens.
All right. Well, thank you again, Basil. This has been an awesome update. I can't wait to see this in action. Thank you, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. We have more BT-15 stuff coming. We're right at the tail end. A couple more weeks.
That's true.
And then we got a whole nother list of videos for you guys. So make sure you jump in the Discord. Let us know what you think. If there's any changes you'd make, let us know. And we'll catch you guys in the next one.